What's up, guys? Hades here. Today we're talking about Gilgamesh and if he's legit or not. There's a lot of new things to go over and see just how good he is because he's been kind of forgotten. But yeah, let's jump right into it. So, Gilgamesh's skill, if you're unaware, does 400 damage to everyone up front and then ticks them down for 80% damage every 3 seconds for 9 seconds. What happens 3 extra times. So total damage, it's a very solid skill, and you get this nice upfront damage. So he's not counted as hard by things like Theodora, which I've talked about in the past, that Lisbeth and Gilgamesh are both very strong with this new meta, and he's not quite as affected by it. Now, if you have the unique artifact, you also get this 55% chance to reduce their damage by 15% for 3 seconds, which is very good because that's how long it lasts. And it's going to happen about half the time, a little over because of 55%. So everything about Gilgamesh is amazing. The thing is, he's a little bit forgotten, right? Most holy players don't play with Gilgamesh. They play with Theodora and Loki on the side. Or they play with Theodora and Fufei in the other Chaos Marches, right? We can see here all the whales don't use Gilgamesh. They use Theodora. All the whales, they all use Theodora and no Gilgamesh, right? You can click every single whale and they just drop him. He doesn't exist anymore. He's been forgotten. But I'm here to show you that he is legit. Now I have a few reports. Excuse me, not open arena. And I think you're going to be interested in what we find here. So I have really good data against Zek. One day ago I hit him with my Elizabeth March, and then I switched to my Gilgamesh with the same skills and hit him again, and it's going to be really, really interesting data. Now I talked about Elizabeth in a previous video, and you'll see it there if you haven't already. But I used to be very even, very neutral with him. I used to run either Khan or Himiko, and we go back and forth 50-50. But ever since I switched to Elizabeth with these 3 skills, I have been winning almost every time. And it's incredible, these skills. And so is Elizabeth with them. She is a very good carrier of Executioner. But guess what? So is Gilgamesh. Okay? So it's a clean sweep, right? Same thing here. Exactly the same setup, except I have Gilgamesh. And here's the difference. Against his water, not quite as good. However, there's a few caveats to think about. First of all, my Gilgamesh is not plus 20, and you get a huge boost at plus 20. Secondly, I did not upgrade his gems. They're green. My Elizabeth has level 7 purples. These are level 2 greens. I have too many attackers. I didn't want to swap it around. Third, he's only plus 24, so he's missing a bunch of troops and bonus stats. So he's a lot going against him. So in the context of that, he's also my main carry here, but he still helps win this battle, right? He almost does as much as Alex, yet he's so frail. He doesn't have defense, he doesn't have great attack, but he still does 20 mil in this battle. And if we look here, 36 mil. Okay, I want to watch this replay first, and then I have another one to watch after against a completely different opponent in some testing we've been doing in KVK. Now keep an eye on the judgment that goes over their head, and they're going to be taking that reduced damage, which is very valuable and not something that should be overlooked. I've loved Gilgamesh for a long time. He's just fallen out of favor, and there's been some better options. But he's a free-to-play hero, and all you need is a new recharge to pump him up. And you can see he's get those first hits there. And then you're going to see the ticking down on these backline heroes. And that's going to be the Executioner, the Blade Vortex, and the his tick of his skill. And you can see he got taken down into the realm, which is going to hurt his damage. But he's going to come back and he's going to deal a lot on the second round because Zenobia gets hit in the second round. and then he goes back in the realm, and it usually goes back and forth in a lot of matches. And now we can see that he got 3 times in the realm, which is a huge reason for his lack of damage in this fight, and it's pretty much over at this point. So even with his lack of stats and being in the realm over and over, he still produced a ton of damage on the enemy team. Now let's look at a different report. I just did a bunch of testing, just a bunch of for fun stuff with Ace, and I was kind of doing a gauntlet with him. I was each fight I would make my army a little bit stronger, a little bit stronger. You can see here I was messing around some of my little baby chaos just to see what would happen. And then I used my Elizabeth, and I was like, okay, that's too strong. Let's go to Gilgamesh with no one in front. Didn't work, and then I went to Gilgamesh with Athena. And I just want to say, like, he pumps out damage. Like, it's incredible. He uses Executioner like no one's business. Look at this Executioner damage. This is unreal. 18 million Executioner. It's more than Blade Vortex. And we're going to watch this one because it's very interesting. I didn't even put skills on the Athena, and I dropped one off the Charles to match the power to make it an even fight, but it just wasn't. So we're going to just watch Gilgamesh when it's more even, because these are non-max marches, of course. We're under 500k here. We're about 480k. Artifacts aren't max. Gilgamesh, of course, isn't. And this account Ace has using is not maxed either. We lose a little bit early, and that's, of course, to be expected against a fire dragon. They get the first hit. But there's that first Gilgamesh, and then boom, Executioner, and boom, he's dead. And that's just the way it works when they don't have a Charles. They just go by. They just disappear. The fight ends so fast. There's so much damage on everyone, and they're doing less to you. So, in all, if you have tons of dust or you've been saving up, you have a bunch of options. Go check out my attack tier list. Get these 3 skills, or you can get battle stance here. They're going to change the way you play the game. They're so strong. I highly, highly recommend Gilgamesh as an option in your team. And if you guys like these kind of videos, let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.